Okay, we've been hearing about it in the U.S. for some time. I talked about the NFL, and I've seen those prices go through the roof. Playoff games, Super Bowl, now World Cup prices going through the roof as well. And really the fear that only the very wealthy are going to get to see these historic sporting events live. Is our collective imagination or ticket prices just spiraling out of control?
Yeah, it is a pretty interesting phenomenon. It really comes down to, at the end of the day, supply and demand, like everything else in life. And so what's happening is that by constraining the supply of tickets for these elite events, demand is massively outstripping what is available. And especially when you have a generation of people that are looking for experiences as much as anything else. That desire for experience means that demand is going to outstrip supply in a significant way, which pushes up the price of these tickets to
Yeah.
what would be unaffordable for the vast majority of people.
So what about the current ticket pricing? How much is that is influenced by the resale market, the secondary platforms that are just making bank by reselling face value tickets?
Yeah, back in the day, right, you would set a price for tickets and you would put them out there, and then you would have ticket scalping or secondary markets that would try and figure out what the proper market price is. And you would always have somebody standing on the street corner saying, I got two, who wants?
Yeah.
What teams realized was that those people on the street corner were actually correcting for the market imperfections that were created by the teams who were setting the prices too low to begin with in a desire to make sure that they had a sellout. What now the teams have realized is, why are we allowing those people on the street corner to pocket that money when we could do it ourselves? And so, with AI and with more advanced technology, what you can do is you can price in real time, which is what FIFA is doing now with World
Right.
Cup tickets. And they can say, we can figure out what the price is, and let's make sure that we're capitalizing on the full economic rent rather than letting the people on the street corner who buy low and sell high pocket that money.
I remember 30 years ago doing some of the first stories on luxury seating and licensed seating, but that's just taken off. So compound that with what role ticket companies and pricing algorithms, dig deeper into that, are determining how much fans will pay.
Absolutely, and the whole exercise here is that teams and governing bodies have realized that there's only a limited amount of supply that they can provide, right? So the NFL is a 17-game season with a short playoff period, and so there's only so much money that you can generate if you only have so many games on offer. So the exercise then is, how do we maximize the take given that limited supply?
Yeah.
The IOC, who starts the Olympics today, have realized the same thing, that there's only a couple of weeks for which the games are going to run. There's only a limited number of events that are going to run. So how do we make sure that we maximize on it? And of course, FIFA is part of the story as well, where even though they've expanded the World Cup to more teams,
Yeah.
they've realized that at the end of the day, you're constrained by how many seats are available. So how do we use algorithms to figure out what is the maximum amount that consumers are willing to pay? And then let's charge them that so that we maximize effectively the take that we get from them.
Okay, so let's now factor in additional costs such as travel, accommodation, buying snacks, souvenirs to that expense. And I also know you've been talking about the World Cup a lot, and for good reason. They did something, they reduced the price of several thousand tickets so people can cheer their home countries and pay much less than everybody else. But that's really just a drop in the bucket, isn't it?
And it's really not going to work the way that we would think, right? If you
Mm.
manage to get one of those deeply discounted ticket prices, what are you going to do? One possibility is that you could become the 21st century ticket scalper of the 20th century, where you're now going to be the one who says, look, if you're interested in these tickets, I don't really care if I watch it from the bar or if I watch it from the stadium. So if you're willing to pay me what the black market price is, you can have these tickets. And so what they're going to do then is they're going to pocket that differential. But of course, as far as FIFA is concerned, when they get in front of an open mic, they say to the public, well, we provided the discounted tickets. We can't control what happens from that. And even if you want to limit it to zip code or to some sort of limitation as to who can
Right.
buy it, there's always going to be somebody who's willing to pay more. And so what you've effectively done is, instead of auctioning them off to the highest bidder, you've made some other criterion the determination of what or
Uh,
who gets the tickets.
yeah, okay, I only have about 30 seconds left, and we've talked so much about tickets. Let's leave on something positive. Okay, we'll have a push-up contest. Tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl, New England or Seattle?
So you didn't know this, but I'm a Buffalo Bills fan going back decades and decades. So the New England Patriots have been the bane of my existence
Yeah.
for the better part of the last 2 decades. So I would enjoy nothing more than to see them lose. So my money's on Seattle, and I'm going to cheer for the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.